Hi everyone and welcome to She. Today on the show, we took a beautiful journey as we continue to walk in this journey of pregnancy and motherhood. And we visited a lactation center. And that's what I decided to call it. But our guest on the show today will give us more details on what's happening in this beautiful space that I just want to sleep in. It's just perfectly beautiful. And we've been on a journey. We've discussed so many aspects of pregnancy, so many aspects of what to expect when you're expecting. But it's so important to then discuss how to take care of the baby. As I've been saying this season, get your notebook because it's going to be so deep, so insightful. You want to write down everything. And allow me to welcome the amazing lady we have on the show today. I'll let her introduce herself. Karibu sana on She.
Thank you so much, Faith.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for having me. My name is Mama Muthoni. That's the general name I think majority of people call me now.
Yeah.
But I'm Wangeshi Kihara. I'm a mom of two. I have a 6-year-old and 4-year-old.
Wow.
And I always tell people that motherhood completely changed my life. I think there was this thing that I thought motherhood would be so perfect and how it would be so... the way we view our moms, like heroes and how they don't struggle.
And
so that's what I thought.
So easy,
yeah, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I thought motherhood would be like. And then it wasn't like that. And through the struggle, I found my calling, actually.
Oh, wow. So are you doing something else?
Completely different, something completely different.
Wow.
I used to work for the UN with refugees. And then I left that and started doing food. That was the industry I was in.
Wow.
And then I became a mom and I started talking about breastfeeding and motherhood and just supporting moms online. And with time, my husband actually is the one who noticed that I was spending so much time and not concentrating on my business. And he kept saying, Wangesh, you need to do something about this. You need to do something about this. You need to do something about this. You need to go to school and study something. And that's how I started lactation consultancy. And so I'm a certified lactation consultant.
Wow.
And then I also studied and became a child nutritionist. I'm also now studying to be, I'm studying towards my international board certification for lactation and a postgraduate diploma in nutrition, in child nutrition. So that's how I started doing what I do now.
Like, I cannot believe there's actually a school guys go to learn
breastfeeding.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And also specifically child nutrition,
yes.
not just
nutrition, child nutrition, because I felt like there was such a huge gap in the market based on how I felt. And I had a midwife before I gave birth. So I had a lot of information given to me, yet I still felt a bit lost. So the question I used to ask myself is, if I had the privilege of having all that support, then what about all these moms? What about all these women out here who feel lost, alone and lonely? Who is there to fill the gap? And that's why I started giving a lot of free education on social media. I do a lot of that on my YouTube and Instagram. My Instagram is Mama Muthoni KE. On YouTube, The Mothership with Mama Muthoni. And I just want to make sure that moms don't feel alone, they don't feel unheard, they don't feel lonely, they don't feel like I'm the only one struggling with motherhood, because the first months can be crazy. And I'm really glad that you're doing this show so that moms feel a bit more empowered, and once they get there, they have a little bit of knowledge about what to expect.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying, because I think motherhood seems so easy when you're looking at somebody else doing it, and even as we delve deep, into aspects of breastfeeding and nursing the baby and the breast pump and everything, I remember how strange it felt for me at the start, when they give you all these instructions and the nurse is, almost merciless, like, why haven't you fed the baby already? And you're like, I don't know how to do it. The child keeps dipping and almost coming out on this other side. You're there trying to put a nursing pillow. You're just dealing with so much. A guest walks in. You're like, do I cover myself? Do I continue feeding the baby? It can be so overwhelming. Let's delve into breastfeeding a bit. How do you train your clients who come in on breastfeeding? And there's the breast pump especially, which has become like this whole new thing. And for me, I keep saying like a breast pump is, my goodness, like I can't do without one because of, then going back to work after and things like that. Are there easy ways to do it? Because it just is so tiring, and it's also expensive to get a pump.
Yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
I think for me, the biggest thing that I always try to make a mother feel, I always start with their feelings, is to feel heard and to feel that somebody actually cares about what is going through, what they are going through. The thing that a lot of our hospitals, where they go wrong, is they treat most of us like just another number. You're not the first one to give birth. You're not the first one whose baby is not being able to latch. You're not the first, you know, like you're just another number. Come, go, come, go. And what I really aim for with the Mothership Village Center, which is the first lactation center in Kenya.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so what I really aim for with this space is to ensure that a mother knows and feels that we care about her. She is the only one that is going through this, because to her, she is the only one. She only knows her pain. She only knows her struggle. I might have seen 100 people today, but right now I'm only dealing with you. So the first thing I always deal with is a mom's feelings. How are you feeling? What is going on with you? Then once I help her feel empowered and help her feel heard, then now we delve into whatever issues she might be going through. One of the things I really encourage parents to do is to take our prenatal, breastfeeding and newborn care class. And this is a class even for moms who this is their 5th child, who just want a different experience and want to have an easier time and be more empowered in their postpartum period. And what we do with this class, we really focus on the 4th trimester, which is the first 3 to 4 months after baby is born. So we do breastfeeding, we do what to do if you're engorged, how to go back to work, how do you deal with nannies, how do you deal with, to ensure that your home is still running, because for most of us, we still want to ensure that our home is running the way we want it to run. In as much as we are told, sahau, you really can't.
You can't.
So we really try and focus on everything that a woman can go through in the 4th trimester. And it's a class that's taken by both mom and her partner if they wish to take the class. But just in case the mother is in the postpartum period, we also still have a class called Beyond Birth, where we deal with now the issues that have come in postpartum. So again, breastfeeding, newborn care, a lot of feelings, because a lot of our experiences in the postpartum period are based on feelings. I feel helpless. I feel lost. I feel alone. I feel, because if baby is breastfeeding but you're feeling well supported, if baby is not breastfeeding well and you're feeling well supported, it becomes a lot easier than all this. Like there's a lot of emotions and ups and downs and all these things that comes, especially the first the first 6 months, the first year, because also of lack of sleep, and you're tired and you're having to take care of this person 24 hours in a day, and then you have to take care of yourself, and then labda you have a husband, and then you have other children. So we really try and support moms through that.
Okay.
Now, if you don't take the class, we also have consultations where you just come and you tell me, I'm having an engorged breast, what do we do? And then we sort that out. Or my nipples are hurting, and then we sort that out. One thing that women need to know is that you should not vumilia breastfeeding pain. I know we are told that, we are told it's normal, we are told vumilia itaisha. Breastfeeding should not be painful. Even the first time, even if you're a first time mom, breastfeeding should not be painful. You might feel a bit of sensitivity, but it should not be painful. If your breasts are painful, your latch is bad. You just need to ensure that the baby is latching on well. So one of the things that moms really need to think about is what their breasts look like. And this you can think about as long as you're planning to have children, even if you've never had children. It's good to know whether your breasts look like this or like this. So this kind of breast is what we call flat. This one is inverted. You can see the nipple is completely inside. This is, I don't know whether to call it normal, but yeah, most nipples look like this.
Like that, yeah.
So if your nipple is flat, one of the things you can start to do is to massage it, even if you're not pregnant. So you just pull, like every time you sit down, watch TV, you just pull. Majority of times, over time, over years, it will come outside. Yeah. Okay. But for some who are inverted, even if you do the stimulation, it will maybe do that, or it won't come out at all. But that is something good to know, because this breast is harder for a baby to latch on than this breast. But remember, it is breastfeeding, not nipple feeding. So with good strategies, you can still manage to have a good breastfeeding relationship with this, with the flat nipple. So let's talk about a good latch, how to achieve a good latch. The number one thing you need to know is that your baby needs to be as close to you as possible. That means that any shoals that you have put on the baby, remove them. let the baby only have.
You probably need to say that louder.
Yeah. Baby only needs to have whatever clothes they're wearing.
Yeah.
Remove all the shawls completely, even if it's cold.
Yeah.
Then baby's tummy needs to be as close to your tummy as possible. Like it needs to lie on your tummy. And it doesn't matter the breastfeeding position you choose. So baby's tummy on your tummy. So that will look like that. Or like that. Or like that, tummy to tummy. Or like that, tummy to tummy. Or in the koala hold, tummy to tummy.
Oh, can you do that when it's
a newborn?
Oh, you can?
Yeah, you just support the body.
It's called koala?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So always tummy to tummy. It doesn't matter which way. Even if you're side lying on the bed, your baby's tummy needs to be on your tummy.
On your tummy.
Then the second rule is that the baby's nipple, the baby's nose
yeah,
needs to fall where your nipple is.
Ah.
So that, like that.
Yeah.
Okay? So that would be, my nipple is here, the baby's nose is there. Then now from here, I'll move to the puppet.
Wow.
So the nipple will fall on the nose, like that. Then you tickle the top of the baby's mouth. Then the baby will start to look confused. They're not confused.
They're looking probably.
They're looking for the breast. Do not guide them. Like you have already put the way it should. I'll go back to the doll. Don't guide them. Don't do the thing that you're told, bring the baby quickly to the breast. Don't do that. Just let the baby look confused. If the baby goes like that, tap, tap with the nipple, the baby will come back and eventually the baby will look up, open the mouth and latch on like that.
Wow. That's very interesting that like when they look confused, you don't water them.
No,
That's why you find someone like, you're all over the place.
And always ensure you bring the baby to you. You don't take yourself to the baby.
Yeah.
Because when you take yourself to the baby, your shoulders will hurt, your back will hurt. And then you'll be coming to Mama Modoni's place, the Mothership Village. We offer postnatal massage and prenatal massage as well.
Oh.
Yeah. But always bring the baby to you.
Okay.
So now the baby has latched like this. I need to explain why this is so important. And if you don't take anything away from this show, take that away. Just that.
Yeah.
So we are here. The baby has looked confused. One of the things that this confusion does, it helps with your letdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then also hands. The babies do this. It's not that they're just doing to disturb you. This is also going to help you with your letdown. And you'll find that sometimes in the middle of a feed, a baby will stop and start doing this again because they want your letdown to come. A letdown, for those who don't know, is when your milk comes in.
Yeah.
For most moms, they'll feel pins and needles, or they'll feel a pull, or some people say it's painful, or you just feel something coming down. Because now your brain has been told we need milk. The milk has now come into your milk, into your breast, and then this other side will start to leak. Anyway, we were here. So the baby looks confused. The baby has latched on like that. Once that happens, the baby's chin needs to be touching the breast and the cheek needs to be touching the breast.
Chin and cheek.
And cheeks need to touch the breast. When that happens, the baby's nose will always be out. So you won't need to do this thing that we do of trying to make sure that the nose is not on the baby.
Guilty as charged. Yeah.
So it'll just be like that.
Okay.
Now, what I love to tell moms, think about when you're thirsty or when you're drinking from something. Majority of us, we put the baby here and then we take the breast like that, right? So think about drinking. When you're drinking facing down, what are you drinking from? Drinking from?
Nothing, right?
A straw.
Oh, that's what you
mean.
A cup. Okay.
Or a cup that you're sipping. But most times it's a straw. When you're facing down, most times you're drinking from a straw. And that's the same thing your baby will do when the head is here and the breast is here and you take it like that.
Because
he or she is looking down.
I get you.
They'll straw on your nipple here and then you feel pain because the baby is just here. Versus
I get you.
When you're very thirsty, the baby will be like that because they are looking down. And then that's why you'll also find majority of us need to remove the breast because the baby is looking down on the breast. Versus when you're very thirsty, so when we're drinking water and you're just drinking, you're not very thirsty. Majority of us will drink like this, right? But when you're very thirsty and you want to drink a lot of water, what will happen to your head?
You bend it more.
Yeah, right? And even if you try and open your mouth facing down like this and up, you'll find that you'll open your mouth a lot wider up, and you'll drink a lot more water facing up. It's the same thing with a child. Anatomy does not change because it's a baby. So when your baby is like this, your baby is facing down, they can't open their mouth, they'll drink from a straw. When it's straight ahead, and you bring the baby quickly, as we are told majority of times, your baby will be facing like this. It could work, but also likelihood of getting hard nipples is bigger.
It's still high.
Versus bringing the baby a bit down, and you allow the baby to latch themselves on and open their mouth and face up. The difference is humongous. The baby is able to completely open their mouth very wide. The baby is able to take in more milk. That means that your supply will increase. That means that the baby will take in more. So generally the weight gain will be better. Versus this, the baby will not take in a lot. Your nipples will hurt, your supply will go down, and the baby's weight gain will not be optimal.
And I like that you've talked about the supply aspect, and maybe we can use that to get into the pumping. You know, so when you're doing the breast pumping and all that, and people tell you, you know, if you express, then your supply is more. When should a mother start to express? When should you feed a child from a bottle? And I know, of course, there are unique cases as well. But let's discuss expressing the milk and the different types of expressing, and at what time is best for a child to, you know, just get that milk as well. Also, because I know how you pump, I guess, is important, because it would lead to the same issues with the nipple, right?
So in terms of pumping, the best time for a mom to start, assuming everything is constant, So baby has been born, baby has come out of hospital within a day or 3, then mom is home, usually around week 2. So the first 2 weeks are usually for your milk to come into fullness. Day 1, your baby's tummy is this size. Then day 2 and then day 3.
Wow.
This also shows the color of poop changing. So first 2 days, then it changes to this, and then by day 4, 5, it should be yellow. But basically, we're talking about the size of the tummy. You look shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so small.
Yes.
They spend so much time nursing. Wow.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why they feed frequently, I guess.
The first day, in fact, they don't feed that much. They are born, they feed, and then they go into a very long period of sleep.
Yeah.
The milk on day 1 is very thick, very heavy. That's why it also takes a while for them to bring it out. A lot of moms say that they don't have milk on day 1 because when they press, it's like a drop. But that is milk. And that is enough, because this is baby's tummy size. And it's only 5 ml. That's what your baby needs on day 1. Then on day 2, they need 10. And then on day 3, they need 30. And then you'll find on day 2, a lot of babies, majority of babies, really cry a lot. Like they cry, and it's very frustrating. And this is where most babies are given formula. Because also mom believes I don't have milk, because when they press, it's the water. And like it's very light. And then day 3, it's 30 ml, and this is where most moms say, sikuwa na maziwa mpaka day 3. But what happens on day 3, if you allow the baby to cry, and if you allow the baby to keep nursing and nursing and nursing, because that's why they are crying, because they know tomorrow the demand is 3 times as much as today, then your milk will come in on day 3, you'll wake up fuller. If you give a lot of formula here, those are the moms who start saying, I didn't have milk until day 4, until day 5, until week 2. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're talking about the first 2 weeks. So day 1, day 2, day 3, and then it goes rapidly increasing.
Yes.
Up until day 2, week 2. So day 1 is 5 ml. That makes to about, let's say, 50 ml total output for the day 1. By day 14, your milk should be at around 700 to 1 liter, depending. So it's very rapid. And all this is generally led by hormones. It's led by demand, but also by hormones. So it's very good to allow all that to happen, and then also allow mom to settle down mentally, emotionally, and then start pumping. Then once you start pumping, in terms of introducing a bottle, you can introduce that between week 3 and week 5. Anything after week 6, your baby is likely to refuse to take the bottle. So if you're planning to go back to work, planning to once in a while give the baby a bottle, then you start between week 3 and week 5. You don't have to give the bottle every day, but you have to give it every other day. Don't give it once and then say, he accepted alafu akakataa baadaye. It has to be every other day. So you give on Monday, you give on Wednesday, you give on Sunday. Like you can skip a day, skip 2 days, but ensure that you're giving. And it doesn't have to be a full feed. It can be 30 ml or 40 ml. Because the most important thing is to secure your breastfeeding relationship with your baby. So once you start pumping, you can now give the baby the 40, and then the rest that you pump out, you can store. The best time to pump is in the middle of the night. But in case
I've had those stories. Like I think, is it 1 or is it 3 a.m.?
No, between 12 and 5 a.m. Between 12 and 5 a.m.
Window.
That's when your hormonal levels are highest. That's when you get the most milk. But if you're like me, I never pumped in the middle of the night. I just never had the strength. The next best time is fasting in the morning. So when your baby wakes up for the day, not when you wake up for the day, because new motherhood, you can wake up at 11 a.m. for the day. So when your baby, when morning comes, night is 12 hours, day is 12 hours. So when morning comes, so let's say if you slept at 7 p.m., morning will come at 7 a.m. So at 7 a.m., you breastfeed the baby and then you pump immediately. You don't pump after baby has slept, you pump immediately.
And I know we are running out of time, but I'm very curious to hear what you have to say about the types of pumps, even before we get into weaning. You know, and so are there pumps that you advise? I know a lot of doulas, you know, will tell you hand expressing is the easiest, you know, and most effective way. What are your thoughts on that? You know, and also I know, was it, I think my second or third child where I couldn't store milk for long because then you know, I find like breast milk then have a smell, but I'd notice it has a smell when I'd store it for long. So I started doing like just 2 days stash and things like that. What's the longest you can keep milk? Is that an issue? Do you find kids, you know, refusing that? And I know I'm asking many questions at a go. And also the aspect of nipple confusion. I know that comes up. A lot of mothers ask that as well because of the bottle, you know, and vice versa. Yeah. So
I'll start with bottle confusion. It's actually generally flow preference or flow confusion. It's not really nipple confusion. It's very hard work for a baby to breastfeed. They have to coordinate so many things for them to breastfeed. Even the slowest nipple is still much easier for a baby to take milk from than your breast. So now what most moms do, they go back to work, their pediatrician tells them your baby is 3 months, take a 3-month bottle. Those bottles, the research was done on formula-fed children. The research was not done on breastfed children. So that bottle, when you put milk, the milk flows like this, like amphotericity. Your breast milk, it's hard to use. And then you've gone back to work, your milk supply is still now wondering, what am I doing? So with time, your child is like, why am I working hard here and the other one is easy? Like the flow will just be quick.
They just start,
they just start preferring the other one. And the more they use the other one, you're not pumping, your milk supply goes reducing. So it's just usually a cycle.
So maybe when the child is 3 months, I should still use the 1 month
Always
nipple.
stick to the slowest flow your baby will accept, and especially if you're going back to work. If you're staying home and your baby is majorly breastfeeding, sometimes you can play around. But if you're going back to work, always ensure you stay with the slowest flow your baby will accept. So even if it's a size 1, you stick to a size 1. The other thing is also how you give the bottle. The bottle should not be given... I'll use this, now that my bottle is not there. The bottle should not be given like this because this gravity is helping the baby to take out the milk. You hold the baby same way, but you bring them up like that. So the child is not seated, please. You're not leaving the baby to sit like this if they're not ready to sit. You hold them up and then the bottle is like that, parallel to the ground. This way the baby is still working hard for the milk. Then once the bottle is halfway done, you stop, you burp. Then if you're exclusively pumping, this is very important, you have to change the baby side. Also, if you're exclusively giving formula, you still change the side because a lot of learning still happens and a lot of growing still happens as the baby feeds. So again, like that, and then you pump. So that way you then avoid flow confusion. What was the other question? Pumps. So for pumps, it depends on your budget and also how old your baby is. In the first days when you're in hospital, the best thing to use is your hands because the milk is very little and it can take you 45 minutes even to an hour to get like a 5 or 3 ml, which is very good. If you get 3 ml on day 1 or 2, good job, mama.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's enough, it's good. Once the baby starts to grow, and if your baby now, let's say you've gotten a preemie baby, baby is not able to breastfeed, the best pump is an electric breast pump because it mimics the baby's sucking best.
Okay.
Yeah. But if everything is constant and baby is breastfeeding and baby is removing majority of the milk, whatever pump you can afford works. Your hands, people say, people who know how to use their hands, they say it's the best and easiest way to pump. An electric pump is good. A double electric pump is fantastic because it actually produces more hormones. It's like feeding twins versus feeding a singleton. A manual pump, if your supply is very low, is also good because it's able to remove a lot of the milk that is there. Yeah. Okay. We can't really go in depth, but I think I've given a good answer.
That helps a lot, and I think is helping a lot of the mothers because it's interesting what you're explaining about, you know, the little milk and, you know, the 3 ml, because and maybe a lot of these mothers come to you and they're like, that's the only milk coming out. It's good to know that it's okay, you know. And maybe we jump a bit, you know, where we've talked about the formula and we've talked about the breastfeeding and how sometimes, you know, at like 4 months, someone says their child is not getting enough. So then weaning comes in, you know. So what do you advise? Do you advocate for 6 months? You know, just exclusive breastfeeding? Is it okay how, you know, mothers start to supplement, you know, because maybe you're like, I'm going back to work, etc. Does milk really go down for some kids? Not the milk go down, but does the milk not be enough for some children that the appetite is too high? So like at 4 months, they have to start, you know, eating. And then now, what's the best fast foods to give these children? I know you've written a book about it and all that, but it would be great to just hear from you. You know, our mothers tell us Popo and butternut. You know, I have 3 kids. I tried Popo, it never worked. Let me not talk about what I did. Before you go, then it's all X'd. But, you know, I'm just curious, you know, is that okay to start at 4 months? And if you decide to start, what do you start with and what do you start the child on?
I love that this is a Christian station.
Yeah.
Because what I usually tell moms is, like, God is an amazing God. And imagine God put a baby in you and your body was able to make a heart, to make bones, to make lungs. What is milk?
True. It's encouraging.
It's nothing. Milk is... It's nothing once your mind decides that you can. Only 5% of the population, there is a possibility that they will not have enough. But if you think about your circles and the number of moms who said, sikuwa na maziwa, it's 70 or 60%.
It's a big number.
Because their mind decided. Yeah. And because faith hakuwa. So basically what I'm saying, your body can and will have enough milk for your baby once you mentally decide, I am going to breastfeed for 6 months.
Yeah. Your final tip on sleep training. I know our time has run out, but it would be great to hear what you think about sleep training. Because a lot of people, I have a friend who says how she raises her kids like free-range chicken. You know, like if they want to sleep, they'll sleep. She's like, you know what, one day they will sleep through the night. But, you know, there's also different material talking about, you know, put them down at this time and winding down, just all these things to do with sleep training. I'm just curious briefly what your thoughts are on sleep training and when you should start it. I know some people say you wait till the child is 6 weeks, etc.
I believe in good sleep hygiene, and I did that with both my children. So that would mean that children are supposed to be awake for a certain period of time. So for example, for a newborn, 30 to 45 minutes maximum is how long that baby should be awake. If your baby is crying to sleep, your baby was awake for too long. Your baby should never cry to tell you anything, actually. If your baby is crying to tell you my diaper, if your baby is crying to tell you I'm hungry, you missed the cues. So you learn your baby, learn their sleep cues, and within 30 to 45 minutes as a newborn, they're asleep. Number 1. Number 2 is winding down time, especially in the evening. The most important time for your night sleep is the time between the last nap and bedtime. And I always tell moms, think about your life 1 year from now. What do you want from it? Do you want the baby to be sleeping at 10 p.m.? Do you want the baby to be sleeping at 12 a.m.? Do you want the baby to be sleeping at 7 a.m., 7 p.m.? It's up to you.
Thank you so much. Very nice to meet you. This has been She. I hope you're as encouraged as I am, you know, to just do these things right. There's no need for us to have from engorged breast, to your nipples hurting, to hating breastfeeding, to thinking, it's a boy, let's just stop at 4 months. Let's push to that 6 months, knowing that, that God is part of this and he's knitting this baby, including the milk, so he's going to help you and support you. And one of my mentors always says that your body was created for this, and that always just encourages me. So yes, your body was created for this. This has been She. We've been talking about taking care of baby, and I hope you've learned some good nuggets to help you take care of your baby. See you next week right here on She. God bless you.